Welcome back, Husker fans, to like the 10th or like 11th episode of the DA Husker Fanalytical show. I am your host, Derrick Arthur, and with me, as always, is no one, because I'm a one-man show. Unless there's a woman out there that's, looking and thinks I'm cute. Whatever. I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, hey, we hired a new coach a couple weeks ago, and why didn't you release a video on that? You want to know why? Because as a Husker fan, we are smart and knowledgeable, and we do our research before we speak on such said issues. And that's what I did. And I gotta say, I like this hire. I like this hire a lot. I like it even more now that Coach Riley himself is following me on Twitter. So you should pull like a Coach Mike Riley and go on Twitter and follow me. My Twitter handle is @DerrickArthur. I'll put it right down below. You should do that. I think it might have been an accident on his part. He was probably like on his phone, was like scrolling. I have chubby fingers. He probably has chubby fingers. And like they put that little button by like someone who like retweets something, that person like you're not following, they put like the follow button. I've hit that so many times. Twitter, get rid of that button. I follow too many people I don't want to follow. But I'm hoping it's for different reasons and wasn't on accident. I think maybe he thinks I'm like a recruit or something. And Coach, if you're watching, I have 2 years of eligibility left because acting school doesn't count towards my education. I'm not much of a football player. But I'll tell you this, I'm really good at motivating people, and I'm really good at pumping up the crowd and pumping up the team in like special circumstances. Like say there's 2 minutes left in the game, we're down 6, they just scored, they just scored, that's what they got them up 6, and you're going to be like, hey, we got to think, I'm your guy to motivate that team. I'll be like right next to you. You're motivating. I'm like the guy, the yes man that's like, you're like, no, we got to score a touchdown. I'll be like, yeah, we got to score a touchdown. And I'm a godly man, which I think you are as well. So basically, I'm Tim Tebow in all three of those senses. Not good at football, godly man, and a great motivator. Or he read last week's issue of Hell Varsity, in which Aaron Sorensen wrote an article about me in the Hail to Fan article. Great article. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Hell Varsity, for doing that. They love their D-list celebs in Nebraska. And I'm a great Husker fan. I thought it was a great representation of me, so thank you guys for that. So if you're a Husker fan and you're looking for some holiday gifts for your other Husker fans, you get a subscription to Hell Varsity magazine. It's like 16 issues a year. It's pretty cheap. It's the best Husker magazine, has best Husker writers on the map. Go do it to it. Let's get straight down to it, though. Deal? Deal. Let's talk about Mike Riley. You all know who he is by now. I'm not going to lie. When I first saw Husker's Twitter page bring up thing, welcome Mike Riley to the Husker family, I was thinking, oh, so like the bowling team or like the rifle team or like the swimming team or gymnastics, they got a new coach. I was like, that's cool. That's really cool. And then people were like, no, he's our head coach for football. And I was like, who is he? So no offense, Mr. Mike Riley, Coach Riley. I'm deeply sorry about that. Most Husker fans didn't know who you were. You weren't even on the betting board. I should have put $100 down on you, probably because it would have been like 500 to 1 odds. And I would have won a lot of money. But I'm glad he's the coach. He has so many years as head coach. I think it's close to 20 years as a head coach. Within the CFL, which is the Canadian Football League, the NFL, as well as 14 years at Oregon State. He obviously took a not-so-good Oregon State team. He's from Corvallis, Oregon. He took a not-so-great team and made them somewhat relevant within a Pac-12. Well, Pac-10, then now Pac-12, whatever. Same thing. That's hard to do with limited resources and having to deal with Nike and Phil Knight right across the street, basically, at Eugene, Oregon University. So, props to you, man. And a lot of coaches, a lot of ex-players, a lot of former players, like in the NFL, a lot of journalists of the media were basically like, great hire by Nebraska, underrated coach, was waiting for that top gig, and I think this is it. Which I don't know if you can say that about Bo. How many people will truly be like, I love that guy. I think a lot of people say it, but not the majority. People can judge him all they want on his record, but different program, different situation. It's not like Nebraska had to go against Nebraska Omaha, which they got rid of their football program. Good job, Trev Alberts. Stupid. Let's break it down now. Nebraska, we want to win championships, and we want to win now. I don't know if Mike Riley is the guy to bring us national championships now. Now, that's not to say that's not a bad thing at all, because guess what? I don't think anybody or any coach can bring a championship to any program outside of Nick Saban. Sorry. I thought that was funny. It's just not possible. Say Les Miles or Jim Harbaugh get hired at Michigan. They're not going to bring a national title to them. You just don't know in college football. You just don't know. Right now, but I do believe this. I think he can bring big wins to Nebraska in quality games and bring us a Big Ten West championship and get us to the part where we can at least be in the conversation for the college football playoff. That's what we want. That's what we should want. We shouldn't want national championships. We should want to be part of the conversations to get to those national titles. Awesome. Now, he brought 4 assistants with him. So far, just 4. We don't know if any more are coming. You just don't know for now. But I looked into these guys. I like some of these. I like them. I like these hires. He obviously got on the recruiting trail, and when it comes to recruiting, he got on top of the recruits that were kind of I'm decommitting or I'm opening up my stuff, and kind of made them more satisfied with their choice of Nebraska, which that takes a lot, because these guys committed to Bo Pelini and his staff. For a guy to come in and be get them at least somewhat, keep Nebraska at least high in the picture, that's a tough task to do, and he did it. I like it. I love it. Love it. Let's talk about his assistants. Mike Cavanaugh kind of reminds me of one of my coaches in high school, Mr. Cushing. Rest in soul. God rest in peace. He died a couple years ago. Guy was a hard-working man. Great offensive line coach. Passionate. Knows how to bust your ass and knows how to have fun. I think that after watching videos of all these coaches at Oregon State, I think I can say that about Mike Cavanaugh, who's going to be our offensive line coach. Pretty sure. They brought the linebacker coach, Trent Bray, who's kind of reminds me of Mike Eckler. Has a lot of energy, hands-on guy, and one hell of a recruiter. He was the first guy kind of hired on Riley's staff to go out and recruit. Ex-players, knows the ins and the outs, the X's and the O's of the game. Love it. Bruce Reed, finally, we got a special teams coach. I think Nebraska has one of the best returning special teams in whole in the Big Ten, because punter is going to be a junior, kicker is going to be a sophomore, returners are going to be a sophomore and junior. Love it. And the guy that a lot of people are not too satisfied with is Mark Banker, who we don't know if he's going to be the defense coordinator. We don't know what he's going to be. Obviously, Oregon State the last couple of years got blown out in a lot of games. It's the Pac-12. This is a different type of defense. He runs a lot of blitz packages. He kind of lets his guys go. A lot of risk-reward type stuff. But his defenses have been somewhat decent and good against run quality. And Pac-12 is all about gunslingers and West Coast offense, where Big Ten's all about smash-mouth football. And I think better talent comes better defenses. So, still, you don't know about that. All right, let's talk about possible auditions. Mike Riley today was on air with Jim Rome saying he's going to at least keep 1 or 2 guys, hopefully. That's what he said, of the current Husker staff. Now, I'm going to break down a couple guys who I think could return. There's only 4 of them. There's Ron Brown, His running backs love him. He's a Nebraska guy. I think he'll be offered the running backs job. I think it'll come down to Ron Brown if he wants it or not. It's not to say anything bad about it. I just think if Ron Brown wants the job, he'll have it. If he doesn't want it, he'll retire. He's getting up there in age. Fisher, hell of a recruiter, hell of a wide receivers coach. Got his players to block. And the only reason I think he has a possibility of staying is because their top wide receiver coach at Oregon State decided to stay. So that kind of sucks. And then on the defense side, Coach Kaczynski, D-line coach, D-line coach, has a lot of talent. D-line was not the biggest problem, was actually the least problem of the Husker staff this season, so you keep him on board, and he's a hell of a recruiter. And then Warren. I think Warren is pretty much the only guy that's kind of guaranteed, but you got to understand, if the guy he brought, Banker, is not the defensive coordinator, his job is going to be the D-backs coach, which means Warren's out. So at the end of the day, I think Warren's going to be our D-backs coach. D-backs, not D-bags. Whatever. And Banker's going to be our defensive coordinator. Now, let's talk about additions to those guys. I just got 3 guys or 4 guys. I like Orgeron if Katz goes. Duh, why wouldn't you? Guys like, Cajun, talks like, he's awesome. Hell of a recruiter in the SEC. Get 5-star recruits to come play for him. His players love him. A lot of experience and has NFL talent. Whatever. Running backs coach, Tom Rathman. I don't think any of the 49ers coaching staff is going to be there next year. He's a Nebraska boy, and he's from my hometown of Grand Island. Represent! I think I'll post an article about what Frank Gore said about him, about Tom Rathman. Great article about how good of a running backs coach Tom Rathman is. I think he'd be a great hire if you want to keep something in Nebraska. Wide receivers. I'm all about giving a phone call to Ocho Cinco and be like, hey, you want to be a coach? Wide receiver? I mean, how big of an awesome would this be if I'm a recruit and I get a phone call and it's like, child, please. Yo, it's Ocho Cinco. You want to come play at Nebraska? I'm the wide receivers coach. You want to come play for me? Child, please, yes. Child, yes, please. Right? Hells yeah. Plus, he played at Oregon State. I know he didn't play for Mike Riley, but still, that'd be an awesome thing. And then offense coordinator. I'm still in for Scott Frost as a coach in line. Let's go get Scott Frost. Throw the money at him. At the end of the day, I think he's going to go after his offensive coordinator, who's now the quarterback's coach for the New York Giants, which don't know much about. He was only the offensive coordinator for Oregon State for a couple of years. I mean, you can't really judge him on just this year because Eli Manning's really not that good of a quarterback. And if he's not really that good of a quarterback and a quarterback coach, I don't know. So that's it, folks, for this show. There'll be a show next week depicting more if we have more hires, but it'll mostly be about the USC bowl game. Great. Just a tad of information. I don't get to watch the game because I'll be flying back to New York City from the motherland of Nebraska, the good life, on the 27th. So hopefully Southwest has ESPN or whatever in their in-flight services so I can watch the game. Till then, as always, I love all of you. I'll post links down below to what you should watch of mine. Articles I stated in the things, bios, whatever. Till next time, fans, be loud, be proud. Go Bears!